In recent developments, South Africa has found itself at the epicenter of a complex geopolitical situation, as the United States, under President Donald Trump's administration, announced a suspension of certain aid programs to the nation. This decision has sparked extensive debate and speculation regarding the underlying motivations and potential ramifications for South Africa's domestic affairs and international relations. The official explanation provided by the U.S. administration centers on concerns over South Africa's land expropriation policies and its legal actions against Israel at the International Court of Justice, ICJ. The South African government has been pursuing land reforms aimed at addressing historical injustices by redistributing land without compensation. Concurrently, South Africa has taken a firm stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, accusing Israel of committing acts of genocide against Palestinians and bringing the matter before the ICJ. However, Julius Malema, leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, offers a different perspective. He argues that the U.S. aid suspension is a retaliatory measure against South Africa's unwavering support for Palestine. Malema asserts that the U.S. is leveraging its financial influence to penalize nations that oppose its foreign policy agenda, particularly those siding against its allies. He draws parallels between South Africa's historical struggle against apartheid and the current plight of Palestinians, emphasizing a moral obligation to support oppressed peoples worldwide. The U.S. aid cuts are multifaceted, affecting various sectors within South Africa. One significant area of impact is healthcare, where the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, has been instrumental in combating HIV/AIDS. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi acknowledges the gravity of the situation but emphasizes the need for South Africa to become self-reliant in addressing its healthcare challenges. He suggests that the nation should not be overly dependent on foreign aid and must explore sustainable solutions to safeguard public health. The suspension of aid also extends to climate initiatives. The U.S. withdrawal from the International Partners Group, IPG, a climate agreement designed to assist developing nations in transitioning from coal to green energy, has led to the cancellation of various projects in South Africa. This move underscores the broader implications of geopolitical tensions on global efforts to combat climate change. The international community has taken note of these developments. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's decision to skip the G20 meeting in Johannesburg, citing South Africa's policies as anti-American, highlights the diplomatic strain between the two nations. Such actions raise questions about South Africa's future role on the global stage and its relationships with key international partners. Domestically, reactions to the U.S. aid suspension are varied. Some political figures, like Malema, view it as an opportunity to assert national sovereignty and resist external pressures. They argue that South Africa should not compromise its principles for financial assistance and must continue to champion human rights causes. Others express concern over the potential economic fallout and advocate for diplomatic efforts to resolve the impasse. The situation also brings to the forefront the role of domestic groups such as AfriForum and the Solidarity Movement. These organizations have been vocal in their appeals to the U.S. administration, alleging discrimination against white South Africans under the land expropriation policies. Their actions have added another layer of complexity to the discourse, influencing international perceptions and policy decisions. As South Africa navigates this challenging landscape, the government faces critical decisions. Balancing the pursuit of social justice through land reforms and maintaining essential international relationships requires nuanced diplomacy. The potential loss of trade benefits under agreements like the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, further complicates the economic outlook. In conclusion, the U.S. suspension of aid to South Africa serves as a poignant example of how international politics can directly influence domestic policies and societal well-being. It challenges South Africa to reassess its strategies, both in terms of internal reforms and foreign diplomacy. The path forward will require resilience, innovation, and a steadfast commitment to the nation's core values. We invite you, our viewers, to share your thoughts on this complex issue. How should South Africa respond to the U.S. aid suspension? What steps can be taken to mitigate the impact on vital sectors like healthcare and climate initiatives? Your insights are valuable to this discussion. Please leave your comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analyses on pressing global matters. The aid cuts have also raised questions about South Africa's long-term economic strategy and its ability to adapt to shifting global dynamics. With foreign aid and trade benefits under threat, many analysts argue that South Africa should focus on strengthening regional alliances and boosting intra-African trade. By deepening economic ties within the continent, South Africa could build a more resilient economy less vulnerable to external political pressures. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, offers a unique opportunity to create a large, unified market that could help cushion the impact of losing access to U.S. funds and trade agreements. Civil society organizations and grassroots movements have also voiced their concerns, emphasizing that ordinary citizens will bear the brunt of the aid cuts. Community leaders warn that reduced funding for healthcare, education, and social development programs will disproportionately affect vulnerable populations, including those living in poverty or with chronic illnesses. Activists are calling on the South African government to reallocate resources to protect these communities, while urging international solidarity to fill the gaps left by the U.S. withdrawal. At the same time, some South Africans see this moment as a catalyst for national growth and self-determination. They argue that relying less on foreign aid could push the country to harness its natural resources, invest in local industries, and innovate across sectors like renewable energy and technology. By fostering local entrepreneurship and empowering small businesses, South Africa might not only weather the storm but emerge stronger and more independent on the global stage. Meanwhile, international reactions to the U.S. aid suspension have been mixed. While some Western allies have quietly supported the U.S. stance, other nations, particularly in the Global South, have praised South Africa's moral stand on Palestine. Countries like Brazil, India, and several Arab nations have expressed solidarity, with some even exploring ways to increase bilateral cooperation. This growing support could pave the way for new diplomatic and trade partnerships, helping South Africa diversify its international relationships and build a more balanced foreign policy. These shifts in global alliances could mark the beginning of a new era for South Africa, where standing firm on human rights issues strengthens its influence among like-minded nations seeking justice and equality on the international stage.